Hey, brothers, how you doing? This is Terrence Hawkins again with Old Gold Table Talk. Guys, thank you for actually joining us on this story. We got an awesome conversation that we're about to have today, brothers. Awesome conversation. So you know how we actually do it because we want you to chime in here with us. We want you to chime in. If you're going to be listening to us live, we want you to go ahead and put a 1 in the comments. If you are chiming in with us on replay, we want you to put a 9 in the comments. Again, if you're live, hit a 1. If you replay, hit a 9. That's 19 what? 06. That's what we're talking about, guys. So we want you to join this conversation. We're going to have an awesome conversation about brotherhood. And guess what? I got some mean brothers up here. Brothers, what's going on? Welcome to Old Gold Table Talk.
What's up, Hawk?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What up, brother?
Guys, we got some mean brothers up in here. Brothers, introduce yourself to everybody, all of the brothers that's out there first. For some of them that do not know you, we got a lot of new brothers that's moving in from out of town, out of the city. And of course, you know, guys, we are live on the Facebook page and we are live on the YouTube page also as well. Give us a quick intro.
I'll go first. Good evening, everybody, or whatever time of day it is when you replay this. I'm Brother Kevin Christian, a Spring 85 initiate of the Eta Omicron chapter at North Carolina State University. Been in this chapter for a good while now, and I'll give you the backstory once we get going along here because it's a good story of brotherhood. I'll turn it over to Mahoney.
Well, I'm not used to going before number one man. So since I saw all these number one men on here, I figured I'd be last. But I'm Brother Robert Mahoney. I'm 1981 initiate at Bowie State University, the Eta Zeta chapter. I've been involved with Alpha for almost 40 years now, and I love the brotherhood. Brother Williams.
Good evening, brothers. Norris Williams, a proud member of Beta Nu Lambda. I was initiated into the Beta Delta chapter at South Carolina State University, spring 1997.
Oh, I don't get it.
Brother Wilson.
That's okay, bro.
You gotta do it, brother, right?
Oh man, next thing you know, you'd be wearing a red hat at the inauguration. Yeah, I'm Big Jim. Actually, Jim Wilson. I was initiated into the Eta Zeta chapter, seated at Bowie State at the time, college, now university in 1981. As with 3 of the other men on here, we all Ace Club, Kevin and Norris, but I'm most proud to say that I was the ace for the line also with Brother Robert Mahoney. So it's a good time to talk about brotherhood.
That's what I'm talking about, guys. Welcome, brothers. And that's what we're going to get into, guys. Today's conversation is going to be our real conversation today. All right. We just want to really just talk about brotherhood, what it means to you, what it means to Alpha. Just go ahead and let's just have a round table. This is an Old Gold Table Talk. So we just all around the table and we're just going to actually talk about that. So who want to actually lead off with, you know what? I'm going to call him Big Jim first. Okay. And I'm going to call him Big Jim because when he come up in there, talk about a house of Alpha, and rattle it all, you see that passion all up in here. Big Jim, talk to us a little bit about brotherhood, brother.
Well, actually, the house is kind of the black and old gold print. I won't say blueprint, but the black and old gold print for brotherhood. I think that brotherhood is something that how do I say it? It's desired by many. It's even experienced by many, but it's understood by maybe not as many, especially nowadays. So I think it's something that is good to talk about, what it is and what it isn't. For me, brotherhood is not only allowing myself to be of assistance and support for others within the fraternity, but also being vulnerable enough to allow them to be that for me. It's not a one-way thing. In fact, when often you ask someone, but brother, here it is, they often say, well, it's someone that's there for you, or someone you can call, or someone that's always going to be there. But It's always in the receiving, from the receiving perspective. But I have come to find and understand that being a brother is at least 80% in giving, and only 20% in receiving. And it seems that much more important, that 20%, because you're really in need. So, okay, I just got gone, so I'll stop now.
I know he going and going. I thought he was gonna get one of them speeches and whatever coming already. All right.
You remind me to turn off my ringer here.
So the Brotherhood just waiting on him just to finish.
No, but that's it. I mean, I'm sure there's more that can be discussed going in, but I'll let the other brothers talk.
All right. What it means to you, actually, Brother Williams?
So I definitely echo Brother Wilson and sentiments, man. It's that the word brotherhood, I think, is it's a very broad term, and it's often misunderstood because it can mean so many different things to so many different people. For me, brotherhood is just making sure that whatever it is that is needed at the time for a brother, I'm pitching in. I'm willing to do it. And sometimes it may inconvenience you, but when you really take a look at how important things are to others, and also knowing, like Jim said, knowing that one day you might be on the receiving end of that, and you need that favor that you're needing from a brother at that particular time. I think it just sums it up, man. It's so good to be able to express brotherhood to others, receive brotherhood or brotherly deeds from others, and nothing in return. It's what we do, it's who we are. And I just actually just love experiencing that with other brothers, so that that you're helping somebody out, or you just being kind to someone when they oftentimes need it the most.
That's what I'm talking about. Brother Christian, when have you felt a true brotherhood?
It's more of an everyday thing, because when you have a brotherhood, you kind of feel like you always. It's like Chris Rock said. He was trying to compare what it meant to be white versus being black, and it said being white is like always having $5 in your pocket, and being black is like always being 50 cents short. Well, I feel like in the brotherhood department that I always got $5 in my pocket. I don't always need it. I don't always need to spend it, but I know if I need it, it's there for me. And so I think it's interesting that these brothers you have assembled here, going back to what Big Jim said, the part about 80% giving. I mean, you got brothers. I'm not 80% giving, but when you when you talk about these other three brothers on here with me, these brothers specialize in giving, and I think they get more out of it than I do when I give. But these guys are the epitome of it. So when I look at it from that standpoint, you reap what you sow. And what you put into this, and how you make yourself available for people, it's in my heart to do that every day, and I can channel it through this brotherhood, here. Now, every member doesn't exhibit brotherhood.
Okay.
So there are people who, that in the Alpha Phi Alpha is not a perfect entity. There are people out here who, they got the letters, but they're not walking the walk. And the thing I would be, I can look myself in the mirror and say I'm walking the walk. I'm not just talking the talk when it comes to this, and that because Alpha Phi Alpha has such lofty goals. You join this thing because of the service you can do to other mankind. That's part of brotherhood. It's part of brotherhood. I got people I can go to in this chapter, in my undergrad chapter, in two other graduate chapters. If I call them, hey, I need something. The question is, well, what you need now? The question is, will you need it when you need it? And let's see if we can get there, because they know I'm not going to call. But I can go on, but I'll have much more to say throughout this. but I never had a lack of words.
A lack of words.
Brother Christian, I'll agree. Brother Christian, when Brother Hawkins.
Yes.
When Brother Hawkins called me and mentioned, he said, "Hey, you want to be on the talk?" And I asked what the topic was. He said, "Brotherhood." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem at all." And as soon as I logged on and I saw you guys, all I could do was smile, man. I was like, "Yeah, this is going to be a great conversation."
Are you saying when you log in late?
Oh, you gotta watch Hawkins, man. Hawkins one of them guys, man. He like throwing cheap shots.
Norris, he's still wet. Norris, he's still wet. He's still wet.
And I logged in at 9 o'clock, Terrence.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Hawkins do cheap shots,
real
man.
quick question for you though, guys.
Wait a minute, we forgot Brother Mahoney. I'm
gonna get to Brother Mahoney, but I want to actually say something real quick about what he actually said. He mentioned something about Chris Rock, and you said about black and white and stuff. You know what I'm saying, and how to do this. How can Chris Rock? I'm just asking, when he comparing something as black and white when he was never white, and he said is like this. So how can somebody say something about brotherhood or say it's supposed to be this and that, and they're not a real brother because you said they got to give a certain percent?
Is that just for Brother Christian, or is that for anybody?
Go ahead, sir.
Is that for Brother Christian, or is that for anybody?
That's for you right now. That's for you right now.
Okay. Well,
that question on you.
I think it's all a part of just being aware of your surroundings. I think that when you are aware of your surroundings and you understand what's going on, whether you are a member of Alpha Phi Alpha or Iota Phi Theta, if you're aware of your surroundings, you see the disparity and the differences between what happens in one particular ethnicity and another particular ethnicity. I think what Chris Rock was saying, by a person going to a lot of schools where he was the only black, he was able to analogize that on a daily basis, his friends had money. But when it came time for him to step up, being one of a few African Americans, that he didn't have money. So his analogy to me was, they always have an ace in the hole. And I'm always trying to catch up because I'm behind the line already. And sometimes just being observant to what's going on around you, you don't necessarily have to be African American to understand the plight of African Americans. You don't have to be Native American to understand how they got pushed all across the country into a reservation to understand that their plight now is what it is, and it needs to be better. You don't have to be Caucasian to understand that you have superiority over people just because of who you are and things that have happened in the past that have made it favorable for you. So I don't necessarily believe that you have to be of a color to assimilate with a color, or of a race to assimilate with a race. I just think you just have to be cognizant of the people that are around you. And a lot of times that's what brotherhood is. That's what brotherhood is inside this organization. If you treat me like you want to be treated, you are a brother. If you walk as I walk, you're a brother. If there's an initiation process, whatever that initiation process is, and we do it together, we are kindred spirits. Whether you're from California, whether you're from Hawaii, whether you crossed in Canada, if we walk the same walk, we are kindred spirit and brothers. And all you have to do is just be cognizant to understand that.
Oh, that's good. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I have a statement, and the thing is that there's a difference between a member and a brother. It's a big difference, and typically in Alpha, I refer to brothers as brothers and members as alphas, and that's something personal to me, because it's like, and we talked about this during INDP. If you imagine that Alpha is a big cookout, and all you're doing is bringing Tupperware and aluminum foil, but you're not bringing no hot dogs and no hamburgers, then you're a member. You're not bringing anything to the fraternity. All you're doing is taking from. And that goes against the house, because the house says, tired moments find me delightful treat. Hours of sorrow, a shrine of understanding. At all times, I'm faithful to the creed of companionship. That means that in order for a tired moment, to have a delightful treat, a brother has to bring that. The organization is bringing that to you. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that I'm going through a tired moment by myself. It's the assurance of knowing that in my tired moments or in my hours of sorrow, there's someone there. But likewise, that if you, Hawk, or you, Norris, are going through, or you, Kev, or you, Mo, are going through a tired moment, then I need to be there for you. If you're in an hour of sorrow, a brother should be understanding. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm saying the 80% giving. That's why I'm saying that, if you're the one that's only taking, but are never there, if you're not fulfilling the faithfulness to the creed of companionship, then you're probably alpha.
I don't want to back up on that one.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Can I add something? Because to be fair, we aren't all built the same. I look at just the virtual dais here of guys who I think naturally display these things. That they're both sympathetic and empathetic, and that's going to make you a good brother, because when you can feel for somebody, you're going to want to do for somebody, unless you're just cold-hearted. So some people are predispositioned to be better brothers than others. Doesn't mean that everybody can't be one, but some people, it's just natural. Some people are natural speakers. Some people are natural leaders. Some people are better followers. And some people are predispositioned to be empathetic and sympathetic. But I know people who aren't the touchy-feeling, I love you, man type people, and they are great brothers because exactly what Big Jim said. They listen to the words of the House of Alpha, and they understand. Okay, sometimes it takes more of an effort for me to be brotherly than coming naturally, but everybody has the potential to be a brother. So we don't want to make this exclusive thing. We just want you to know that, look, it comes naturally to me. I'm a people lover and a darn sure an alpha lover. I love my brotherhood because I've gotten, I try to give, but boy, I've got a lot out of it too. I've gotten a lot out of it over the years. I got stories, brothers, I can tell you, starting from when I was online. So it's there. And I'll just give you a quick snippet.
Another one?
I was when I was online, I found out I was going to be a father while I was pledging, spring '85. So one day I found out I was going to be a father. The next day I found out that my ex-girlfriend at this time tried to commit suicide. So I'm online, and I'm online old school. You can't on a PWI. So my people in my classes didn't know what the hell I was going through. We were the only Black fraternity in the state of North Carolina to have a fraternity house. So most of the stuff happened, either in a private place on campus or on the privacy of a fraternity house. But I had good big brothers. I actually went home when I was online for a few days because I had to go take care of business. Didn't know if I was going to stay in school. As a matter of fact, my plan was to drop out. So to cut to the chase, I had my line brothers calling me and said, "Hey, when are you coming back? Not are you coming back? When are you coming back?" The expectation for you as a Sphinxman at the time is they were talking about the scholarship piece of it and how you're going to be a benefit for a kid that you got coming if you can't make a way for yourself. They created expectation, and all along, that was another time, because I wasn't poor when I went to school. I was poor, just PO. I couldn't afford the O and the R. So there's another time I sat out of school, and brothers are calling me, when you coming back? Because you could. I mean, it's seems so strange now, because I got out of school with an engineering degree, I got an MBA, I got certifications, and it's so far in the past. But that started me out, and it was brothers calling me, encouraging me, but also talking about, well, that's the expectation that we have of you. We know the talent you have.
Setting the
Brothers
standard.
didn't, yes, setting the standard. Them brothers didn't have to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Brother Williams, you've done a lot of things, especially for me. I'm as well, with reaching out in the text, was going through in guidance. What would you tell a new brother, about brotherhood?
For a new brother, I would say that brotherhood it looks different for every person. I would say that it never ends, and that you can never go wrong with an act of kindness.
Yep.
You never know how much a phone call or a text, or an email or whatever means to someone, because people don't always tell you. Like Brother Christian said, people don't always or can't always tell you what they're currently going through. But if you genuinely reach out to brothers and just make that contact, man, it's a great feeling. It is a great feeling. So I would say to a new brother, you can never go wrong with an act of kindness. When you have that inkling in your heart or that spirit of discernment, and you just know that you need to reach out, follow your heart and do it, because most times you're spot on.
I have a point to piggyback on Brother Williams, what you mentioned, and that goes into what I said in my original comments, is being vulnerable enough to allow brothers to be brothers to you.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, and by that I mean, just using the example that Norris used, that everyone won't share, but if someone asks you, but if I come to you, or if I share something with Norris or with Kev or Mo, that's personal to me, that I'm going through something, you know what that does? In many cases, that builds what I'm going to say, that builds a level of vulnerability between the two of us, to where if he was going through something, he knows that he's not the only one that goes through stuff, that I go through stuff. So his proponents to his tendency to share with me then, because now we wide open.
Yep.
Now we wide open.
Yeah.
I think that's important. The other thing that I'll say, and I'll be quiet, because actually I like being on this with Kevin Christian, because he makes me seem like a man of few words. But you can laugh, Norris. It's okay, man. Okay. The other thing is that I think is important for new brothers, is that it's not something you just add water and stir.
Yeah.
And you have instant brotherhood. It's not something that just because you cross, now all of a sudden you have brotherhood. No, and a lot of it deals with the process. When you say, Kevin, that some brothers just are giving, I'm not one of them dudes. I'm not a touchy-feely dude either.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some things I learned through the process that made and broke me down and made me have to learn a lot of things about relying on others and being a brother and taking weight and things of that nature. So, I think it goes back to that also.
Well, I got the comment you just said, not just add water and stir.
No, it's not like Kool-Aid, man. It's not an automatic thing. You see it. I've seen it a lot. Where it's like, oh, we've crossed, now we're gonna be brothers, but the first time something hard hit, it's like a foundation that's built on sand. I'm not trying to get biblical here, but the foundation of the brotherhood isn't built on a rock. It's built on sand. So when the tide ebbs and flows, it kind of collapses.
Yeah. Yeah, since 1981, when I was initiated, I've seen a few initiation ceremonies, and I've seen people who were not alphas become alphas. And when you see the process, and I don't know what it's like in another organization, but I know what it's like in this one. And you see people before they were in the organization, you see them going through the process, and then you see them after. Sometimes putting on the coveted black and gold shirt raises your decibel level inside your throat a little bit, but it don't necessarily make your heart bigger. So in other words, I saw you before this happened, and you were, Clark Kent. Suddenly you put on this shirt and you become Superman. Does that make you a brother? No. I need to see you do Superman kind of work before I acknowledge you as a brother. I will acknowledge you as a member, but just because you're Superman don't mean there's not a kryptonite.
Yep.
And you're going to need me to get rid of that kryptonite. So don't be Superman over me, because I saw you when you were Clark Kent. And that's not necessarily just an alpha lesson that I learned. I've seen it in life where somebody suddenly does something that they think, is immaculate, like becoming a member of the 82nd Airborne Division. Ooh, you were a beret. Yeah, but I saw you on the side of the road when we were running in the morning. So that don't necessarily make you a paratrooper. It's the actions that you have once you become that person that you think you are. It's not hair and makeup and wardrobe in the Hollywood studio, and suddenly you are now this actor, alongside of Denzel, and you're going to win an Emmy. It's actually doing the work.
Yeah.
It's showing me not necessarily just your vulnerability, but your strengths too. And that's where I find you to become a brother. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Clark Kent becoming Superman, but Superman, don't forget you're really Clark Kent when you take off that uniform. So you always have to remember, to be a brother is vulnerability as well as strength. It's twofold. It's not always the strength side.
Even Superman needed the Justice League in order to be more effective. So him being on his by himself was, he's great. As all of us, could be a great man, but to have a team, to have the brothers with you.
My DP used to say, if you ain't crap before you put the letters on, you ain't gonna be crap after you put the letters on. And that piggybacks off of what Mahoney said. And then going back to what Big Jim said, it just made me think of the Bible verse that says, "A man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there's a friend that sticketh closer to the brother." But the first part of that, showing yourself friendly, I mean, that it's that vulnerability that really starts the path to greater brotherhood. You show yourself friendly. You people reciprocate when you put yourself out there, and I think that's the highest height of brotherhood.
I believe that.
There's another part, and I don't want to be Kevin Christian on this. Keep talking, but
I was short that time, man. On purpose, I was short.
Over the years, I've kind of analogized to myself, and I'll say it out loud, and Big Jim will tell me how bad I was after this is over. Brotherhood is kind of like in your house. If you have a son or if you have a daughter, right? You have to tell them what to do on a daily basis. You have to train them up as they should go, right? So as you're training them up, if you continue to have to tell them to do the same thing over and over again, they're never your level. They never become your level. You're still their parent. You're still their superior. You're still above them. But that day that you don't have to tell them certain things, that you can see the maturation in your child, that they start to take on the things that you've told them to do, and they become better at doing it than you are at doing it. then that's kind of like being in this house when you see Brotherhood, where if I suggest something to you to do and I don't have to suggest it anymore, then you understand that there's an ebb and flow. There's no longer a need for me to be overstating what you need to do, that you are somebody that will automatically do it. And I can trust you in my house. I think Big Jim had this analogy once, and I'm gonna try to steal it.
Don't take it. I'm about to break it down, Mo. I'm about to bring it myself.
Let me steal it.
Don't steal it, Mo. Don't steal it.
Big Jim once said, my house, you're welcome to come in my house. I don't care who you are, but you can't rearrange my furniture and don't just walk into my refrigerator. Right? To me, that means, yeah, you're a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. You have access to anything. I give you the keys to my car. I'll give you the keys to my house. You can come in. But if I come back home and you to move the duvet over here and the TV's over here and this is over there, you don't rearrange my house. That's not what Brotherhood's about. Brotherhood's about coming in and feeling, what's inside the house and just accepting it is, because this is not your house, it's mine. I let you in and let you do things. But when you decide to move stuff around, that's very unbrotherly.
That's what happens when the number 3 tries to tell the number 1 story.
Only number ones.
Well,
he's not
he's not a line spokesperson, so he's just not good at it.
Yeah, the actual thing. Well, he has.
That's hazing.
Like,
that's hazing.
What I said was that when you come into the house of Alpha, and when you first cross, you're in the house. You're welcome in the house, but you can't rearrange my furniture. You can't go directly in my refrigerator. That requires relationship. Mm-hmm. That requires you coming in and listening and understanding who's who and understanding what's what and seeing where you can help and seeing where the needs are and those sorts of things. And then after you build that relationship, then only then can you knowledgeably, because we've been around, I think collectively, with the exception of Hawk, and Hawk's been around now for, over a year. You guys come in and they have all of these ideas and they want to do all of this stuff, but they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what's been going on. They have no idea how to navigate. They don't know who movers and shakers are or any of that. And they just come in with these ideas and then they get frustrated because we might not take to them right away, or it might not seem like anyone's interested, but you haven't taken the time to come into the house and sit down and look at the furniture and see where that might be better here. But why is it there in the first place? Well, maybe it's covering a big hole in the wall and I don't want it moved.
Guys, talk to the person.
You know what I'm saying? So part of Brotherhood is taking time to know and understand, who people are, and where you fit in.
Okay. Well, and continue with that. Talk to that person then that was at another chapter. Now they're in your city, want to join your chapter. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like two parents that have kids on their own and then they get married. So you have step brothers and stuff coming in together into the same house. Mm-hmm. Talk to those individuals that's coming into the new house or that's there. How can that brotherhood develop there? What would you tell that person that is new to the chapter?
I think Kevin Christian can answer that pretty well.
What was that?
I think Kevin Christian can actually answer that. I'm trying to be funny, but I think he has a good outlook on that.
I do. I came to this city and I was probably here for 8 years and wasn't active with the chapter and had been active with a chapter in the last 2 cities that I was in. I came here, had 2 house payments. I didn't want to pay my dues. Things were tight. So, so George Adams moved to town and he's one of my sons. I was his assistant leader pledges. So I'm saying, well, come to my church. We got a great church, and wanted to get him acclimated. And he kept asking me, well, what about the chapter? Yeah, I haven't really done anything with the chapter. What about the chapter? So I bump into these two Eta Zeta Funk brothers who go to the same church that I do. And I got to be honest. It was my second time living in Charlotte. I moved away, and I wasn't feeling it because I wasn't feeling the brotherhood. My fondest memories were my undergrad situation at Eta Omicron, and that's why we're all tight now. But I bumped into this guy named Big Jim and Mahoney. Why they called him Big Jim, I did not know. But I bumped into him, and George started asking the questions about the chapter. And the more I listen to these brothers, I'm like, man, these are some good brothers. I mean, this it kind of feel like the undergrad feel. So it started opening my eyes up to what Beta Nu Lambda could offer. Come on down, check us out. Not you ought to do this, your obligation to come, inviting me in, opening themselves up. So I come to a meeting. George started going first. I come. I'm like, hey, it's all right. This brotherhood here is all right. But I keep my eyes on the Eta Zeta Funk brothers, and by the way, that's another one who are their line brothers who's in the chapter. So it's because I gotta say, if it wasn't for Mahoney and Big Jim, I doubt if I'd be a brother in this chapter today, because they showed themselves friendly, brought me into the chapter, let me experience and I drank the Kool-Aid hard.
That wasn't Kool-Aid, bro.
I drank it hard. I joined the membership committee, which Big Jim was chairing. And I've been all in ever since. Now, take COVID out of it and me having two jobs, I don't have as much time these days. But I'm staying financial, and I'm trying to stay committed to that one committee. That's a Big Jim thing. Hey, we're not asking you to be super alpha. Just be committed to something. But this chapter feels like an undergrad chapter, not just in what we do, but remember my undergrad chapter, we had a frat house. So we spent a lot of time together. We are genuine friends of each other, genuine concern about how each other is doing. And
with that same vein, Kevin, even once you did that, you then opened your house up.
That's what I was going to say.
The chapter. I'm sorry, Jim. You opened your house up and you brought your whole family into the chapter, because no one had done an ugly sweater Christmas party before until you did it. And you brought that aspect. So here we are at your house every year at Christmas, and it starts out with maybe 7 or 8 couples. And then the next year it was 12 to 15 couples. And then the year after that, it was like 20 couples. And it was like, man, you're going to have to find another place.
You're going to get a bigger house.
Right here. To the point that we didn't get to have it this year. And one of the brothers who came last year with his wife, who couldn't really participate because she was pregnant, was like really wanting to come back to that. So, the brotherhood multiplies when you bring your talents to the storehouse, and then Jim brings his talents to the storehouse, and Hawk brings his in, and the next thing you know, we got something that looks like we at Beta Delta doing everything that they would do down there. Because it's great when everybody comes together with their talent, because that's the brotherhood aspect of it. The brothers are bringing what they have and being, open to what they have and sharing it with everybody else. So it's a beautiful thing when brotherhood works.
And Hawk, that's why I said that about Kevin, because not to give us props, but the thing was once he came in, aside from all of the stuff he said before, but once he came in, man, he started the Annie Singleton, we started the date night with the spot. I mean, he's been a sponsor for aspirants. He's just covered the gamut, you know what I mean? And then brought some more whole chapter brothers in. So when you ask the question, what do you tell a new one that's coming from another state? You just be, I don't know, you shouldn't give a definition by using the word. You just brotherly, like, hey man, look, we already have something in common.
Mm-hmm.
We already are joined by ritual.
Mm-hmm.
We already have, maybe we all don't have the same experiences, but we all have come from somewhere. But we're bound by ritual. So that's an opening point. That's a what do you call it? A wall breaker, icebreaker right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the next just be cool. It's like Norris. When Norris used to take the notes. He used to be what were you, the secretary? And I didn't know Norris. The only thing I knew about Norris was that he and I could see eye to eye. You know, literally. And but I watched him. And I watched how he carried himself. And he was always so had his bow tie on and so business-like, whatever. And there was and so super principled and educated and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, he seems pretty sharp. But what happened was something happened, and we caught each other eye and we started laughing. And I said, man, that brother, okay, we vibing here. And then I talked to him, and man, it was like, I didn't go to South Carolina State. I went to Bowie, but it was like we were kindred. We had the same foundational principle, and that's the thing that you'll find often within the fraternity, regardless of where you come from, that we all have something in common. At least to start, at least an icebreaker. And then from there, it's you're not gonna get along with everybody.
Right. But like Jim said earlier, in order to find the brotherhood, you have to be vulnerable. You got to step out of wherever you are in Excuseville, in I can't do this right now land, and I'm kind of busy with the family, bro. So let me know about the next one. You have to be vulnerable to be able to receive the gift that's here, because 50% of getting the gift is showing up. If you just show up for something, it don't have to be 5, 7, 12 hours. It just has to be for, just a little while to get to know, and then have that moment, have that time where you get to know a brother and then go from there.
And I find that most people miss the brotherhood because they only come to chapter meeting.
Yeah.
Chapter
We'll
meeting
leave
is not
early.
the place to really make and foster the brotherhood. The places where I have found is when you're doing closed closet, when you're doing Alpha Academy, when you're doing IMDP. That's when I met most of the brothers. I mean, the chapter meeting, okay, if you want to come to chapter meeting, fine. Okay, come to chapter, but we'd rather have you at Alpha Academy. We'd rather have you at the closed closet or the Battalion Committee, something like that. And that's where you really have time to communicate and meet brothers and work with brothers. And then you find out that you have things in common, that you like the same things or you're into the same things. It's there that I have found. Not just at the meeting. I mean, it's cool. I'm not speaking up against the meeting, but where you really, really start to meld, I think, is when we're doing the work, when we're doing the things. Norris, what you feel about that? I mean,
so I definitely agree with what you said, brothers. I have a similar story in that I live right across the border in South Carolina. So, but I make the personal decision to be a member of Beta Nu Lambda, and there are 2 other chapters in my area that they're here, but I choose for Beta Nu Lambda. And I will say that when I first came into the chapter, it was during the time right before the general convention was going to be held in Charlotte. And so one of the things that was common is that a lot of brothers were joining because it was in the area. And, I remember going to a chapter meeting and they said, guys, we need to make sure that we are mindful of how many come in the general convention and how many brothers stay after the general convention ends in July. And I took that to heart. I did not join Beta Nu Lambda for years because of what I'd heard. I heard it was, an elitist chapter. I heard, brothers aren't welcoming. And I had to, like someone said, put those excuses to the side. And that's what let me try it for myself. My line brother invited me, and I came in, absolutely loved it. I still love it, love every moment of it. But you had all of us are alphas, and we all have, alphas can be alphas. And so when you find someone and well, they're standoffish or they're arrogant, at some point we all like that, So you got to find your group that you gel with, that you can, chill with, that you can work with, and then you make that work. We have almost 200 brothers in our chapter, or over 200 brothers. You're not going to gel with everyone. Some people you might not even see that often, but when you get that group, man, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it in the world. So for a brother that is coming outside from another chapter or another area, I would say get involved, get in there, find your group, and then just make it work for you.
Yeah, I'll tell you some of my most favorite times with the chapter is like once we finish, like it could be we're doing intake, or we just had IMDP training, or we've done something else, and afterwards we was like, hey, what you doing? Well, let's go grab some lunch. Those when we just impromptu go grab some food, it might be 20 of us at a table.
Yeah.
Those are the most fun times because
after the MLK parade.
Yeah. It's so much fun because that's when you're breaking bread with somebody. You get to know people, and you drop the guard. You drop, even in the fraternity, sometimes you have a tendency to be guarded and I'm a senior vice president at Bank of America, and you can try to be stuffy sometimes. and when you drop your guard, and you show that vulnerability
with the chicken wing in your hand.
you get to know people,
and you got a chicken wing in your hand and your mouth greasy.
That's right.
When I came to the chapter, I was coming down from AZ. I hadn't been active for 25 years or so, just because life. I was in the services stuff, and Mo and Hicks invited me to the chapter meeting. I'm sitting in the chapter meeting. I'm like, man, what's up with Big Brother High Strung over there, man? I mean, do they ever have any fun, man? I mean, because my experience with grad chapters was always money. All they wanted was money. And so I'm sitting here with Mo and Hicks, my line brothers. I'm like, man, they ever have any fun? Well, he was like, yeah, we have fun. Well, after a while, I found out, went to used to be Deltas, and then went to the other place, and the other bar was like Alpha headquarters, man, up in there. What was the name
Picasso,
of that bar?
not Picasso's, up on the corner of 6th
on the corner, yeah.
College. Yeah.
And that's where I met a lot of brothers. We was drunk as all get up, but they were like, man, these were cool, man.
Speak for yourself, man.
And well, I was drunk back then, but I mean, and then stuff like the luau and stuff like that. But here's one for you, Hawk. There's a brother that was on your line that Mo, when they brought up the after MLK a year ago, Zach. And Zach was an aspirant at the time, and he was going to give blood. And they did the test, whatever, and Zach fainted, whatever. And we were all laughing about that. But I told Zach that day, I said, you're in. You've made a name for yourself. And that is through things like that. It doesn't have to be family or whatever, but it's typically in those events, something happens where somebody gets to know you. They get to know you. It might be one guy. You're not going to be, everybody can't be Mo Mahoney. Everybody can't be the 4-time brother of the year, 4-time brother of the year, women. What was it, 3? Okay, 3, but that's his character. But he's genuine. He's been like that since 79. But you do, everyone, like Norris said, there are brothers you can relate to. And when he said, alpha's gonna be alphas. Remember what I said is difference between a brother and a member? And they call members alphas. They lack that vulnerability. They lack that connection. That's the big difference. If you have the connection, the desire to connect, if you have the ability to be vulnerable with another guy, on the level, I can call Kev, and if I have an issue, I can talk to Kev. Kev can talk to me. Norris, same way. Mo, but several other brothers. I think Bernie was talking about he plays. You're right, Ken. That's another brother. That just
Oh, that was Bernie in the comments.
I think so, but I don't know. But somebody plays Kevin right. But,
He plays me hard. I can tell you that.
I mean, that to me, that's the brotherhood, Hawk. And so for young guys, it's just stay, just keep. You know, you don't have to try to do too much. You don't have to extend yourself too much because then it comes off phony.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Yeah.
Just be who you are, and come and bring a couple hot dogs.
Yeah.
Bring a couple hot dogs in.
Yeah, don't just show the styrofoam.
Yeah, your styrofoam. Let's zip like bag.
How you come here with a to-go box just for yourself eating French fries with your fingers and then reaching back in it like, you want some? No, that ain't. Come on, man.
Yeah, but you just got to beat it. But the brotherhood is very, very, very important to me, and I ain't gonna get into the whole thing. If you want to, text me, I'll tell you about it. But what
a yoo-hoo with a bunch of people lactose intolerant. Don't bring no yoo-hoo when we all lactose intolerant, man. Bring something that. I'm sorry. That's him.
Let me add
the
something.
Other Hawk, when you said bring your own food, and he brought his own little lunch bag. Yeah, it will share with nobody. He learned from that thing.
Let me add something. It's akin to the.
Add someone real quick, and that was actually Bernie. Also, just to let you know, that was Brother Bernie.
See, no, wait a minute, Hawk. Just hold up a minute. How did I know that? Because I know that brother.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that was, in all seriousness, case in point. Because we've shared. Because I know where he's come. I know how he talks. I know how he is. I could tell, and I said, Kev, that was Bernie that said that. And I met Bernie just right when we were ambassadors for the convention. We were working.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out that we had stuff in common. We had views on the same thing. And ever since then, bam.
Yeah, unfortunately, I knew him before then. It was a hard time. Let me add something to what Big Jim was saying.
Hold on, man. Hawk had a question, man. Don't run the man show, man.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. This is his show, right?
Yeah, this is his show, man.
All night long. We're not gonna be sitting around the table all night long.
Let me get my story. Let me tell you, it'll be short. I swear, it'll be short. So I don't know if it's Bible verse or just the song I know, but there's a song what God has for me, it is for me, right? I say that because my relationship with Big Jim is different than my relationship with Mahoney, different than my relationship with Hawk or with Norris. You're different people. You're gonna have different facets or different relationships, but you get out of those relationships what you put into them. And I've got a lot of different relationships across the brotherhood. And just so don't think you got to go in and say, oh, I got to get what he got. No, you got to develop what you're going to have with the brotherhood and be satisfied with your different relationship because you get something out of each other.
But hey, Norris, and Norris, I just want to give a shout out to Norris for, coming from South Carolina, and they have that new chapter down there, and he's still hanging out with us at Beta Nu Lambda. I mean that's
always will.
That's a cool thing, man. And Norris,
but Hawk, while Norris is on here, I know even though his son plays an instrument, he ain't gonna toot his own horn. So I just want to say this. Beta Nu Lambda would not be recognized as we have been recognized if it wasn't for Dr. Norris Williams.
Amen.
Right.
Now,
amen.
I don't say that as hyperbole because he's listening to me. I say that because it's the God's honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, let me put it in context. The chapter had been doing work. The chapter has always been doing work, but no one took the time to Jim, correct me on this word, chronologically detail. Did I say it right, bro?
You said it right.
Okay.
Man.
Chronologically detail and depict the accuracy and all the stuff that we were doing, because that was that yeoman's task that every member of this organization said, let somebody else do it. Let somebody else do it. Well, when he came on board, he said, well, I'll give it a shot. Not only did he give it a shot, he reloaded, put another magazine in the clip in another one and shot it again. And, you know, hey, it wasn't always success. It wasn't always, you know, trumpets sounding that we've won this. We've had a lot of failures. And it's only because we ain't know how to play the game. But Dr. Norris Williams read the rule book. He read the game plan and he saw how the others were. And he huddled all the brothers up and said, we need to do this. We need to do this. Do we know somebody in Boy Scouts? Do we do this? Do we do this? Do you know somebody that does this? Great. Thank you, brothers. I'll put this together. And he put it together. And even when he put it together, there was opposition. There was opposition against him to put it together because, you know, nothing achieved is free. You know, it's we got going to budget for this. Wait a minute, we didn't allocate this. The business aspect of this says no, we can't do it. But once he started making those things happen, then the rest of the brothers said, yeah, I made a new Lambda. Yeah, I made a new Lambda. And it was because Brother Williams took something that was in a shoebox and put it on a billboard. And that's how Beta Nu Lambda became International Chapter of the Year in Las Vegas, because of his efforts that started right after the 2015 convention, so that in 2019 we became International Chapter of the Year. So he ain't saying much today, but you know. But
that the other part that I'm gonna shout him out for I'm gonna shout him out for is that, you know, that stands in if. That states, if you walk with kings, nor lose your common touch. That's Brother Williams to me. You know, the doctor and the Alvin, but you catch him off to the side sometimes. I ain't putting this out there, Lewis, but catch him off.
Or the bus going to Memphis.
You know, he's a bruh. You know, and in the heart, I think Hawkins, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, you see, and I'm not gonna get into naming names, but there are a lot of brothers in the chapter that if you take them at face value, you would think that they Hasidity or they stuck up or they unapproachable. But a lot of them dudes, man, they just want to be bruh.
Cool brothers.
They just want to be talked to like bruh. They want to be treated like bruh. You know, they're in you know, executive positions, and they have titles and they have exposure throughout but when it all comes down to it, they bruhs.
Yep.
You know, and what I'm saying is if we start treating each other like bruhs, and not, you know, I'm not making fun of you, Hawk, but you know, brother Hawkins and da, you know, and there's a time and place for that. There is, absolutely. But there's also a time to say, yo, man, I need to holler. Can I holler at you for a minute? You know, without having to show regard for all of the pomp and circumstance and all of that mess. Because at the beginning and the end of the day, you know, we men.
Yeah.
Majority of us black men. But if we ain't black, we men. And then all of us have been through the same ritual. We've all been through the same process. So that gives us the icebreaker. So just be bros, man. You're not going to get along with everybody. Sometimes it's just oil and water. But you can respect the fact that he's a brother to somebody else. He might not be a brother to you, but he's a brother. You're trying to be a brother to whoever you can be a brother to. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm a brother to 10 and you're a brother to 10, then collectively, we have a brotherhood. We have a family. You don't get along with everybody in your family. You know, it's like, where's no Cindy at? She back there with Uncle Judy. You better get her. Don't let her back there with Uncle. You know, you can't trust everybody. You know, we collectively, in our own circle, can reach out and extend that brotherhood and receive that brotherhood. Then overall, then we have a brotherhood. You follow what I'm saying? To me, that's what it's all about.
Man, I appreciate you stop whispering to me, man. Seriously, I appreciate it. You stop whispering. It's a little late at night to hear you whisper.
I'm trying to keep from waking up, man. And you know I ain't rolling like that, bro.
Yeah, I know.
So I ain't even know no need to put that out on the net. Yo, for anybody watching, it ain't even that kind of point.
If you want to ask about Brotherhood or anything else you guys want to say, sir.
Who was that to, Brother North?
Anything else you want to say?
I want to thank Brother. I want to thank Brother Hawkins, just for inviting me to this. I've immensely enjoyed this conversation, and number two, for hitting the ground in the chapter running.
Yeah.
Brother, I see you. And I appreciate you. When you talk about Brotherhood, you got the goods, and because you got the desire to do something to help out, to do your part. And it was evident from day one. And I just want to encourage you to keep it going, brother. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
And that part that I mentioned about being Superman, putting on the uniform and being Superman, what you're doing, Brother Hawkins, will allow us to keep the kryptonite off you. Because we know that you have put on the uniform. You jumped out there from Clark Kent to Superman. And now we're looking for the kryptonite to let you be Superman, you know, and that's seeing you go do your work and understanding that you're in it to win. So it's our job to help you to go forward. So you just keep doing what you're doing, bro.
And I would encourage you and the rest of the guys on your line to understand and remember that you also always will be close to your line brothers. And I think I even told you that at some point that the best part of this experience, the most cherished thing of the experience is the relationship you have with the men that go through it with you. But I also encourage you all, and I know it's been tough with the pandemic. I know because things are shut down, but you all are also a part of the bigger house now. And so, you know, everybody's not just going to, Bernie is a great example. So keep doing what you're doing and continue within the chapter, man. You guys are not an entity to amongst yourselves. You're part of the family, man. And I'm not criticizing. I'm not saying, because I've seen you all. I'm not saying that. I'm just encouraging you that even during this difficult time, because it is this difficult time, that you all keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for inviting me. That was an act of brotherhood, because I had to think about it. You know, I got things, you know, you like 9 o'clock, man. Yeah, I'll be there, you know. But thank you for all that you're doing.
Brothers, I want to thank you as well for your sentiments that shared tonight. I enjoyed listening to each of you. I definitely can relate to the messages that were shared. To Brother Hawkins, man, I echo that. You as well as your line, you'll have hit the ground running, and it is noticeable within our chapter. Very noticeable. And you gain a high level of respect for putting in the work. You gain a high, and you guys are already there. And we've not even been in normal setting since you crossed. So when we get back to normal setting, it's going to be even better. But you guys are already doing an amazing job. So thank you for the invite, brothers. Thank you for your panel discussions, and to all of our new brothers and brothers that could possibly be entering into our chapter. Look forward to opportunities to share brotherhood with you as well.
Goodwill is the monarch of this house.
I can actually say, guys, I definitely thank you guys for taking your time out and honestly sharing with all that actually brother and brotherhood and stuff. And I'm sure that so many brothers are going to get a lot out of it. Thank you for coming and talking around the table. And I definitely will be ready for you guys to come and talk around the table again in more conversations and deeper conversations. All right.
Happy birthday, James Bernie. I see you out there, man, celebrating your birthday with us.
Could you split me and Kevin Christian up, man? That'll cut down at least 30 minutes of your time. Like I said, he made me seem like a man of few words.
I know. I think you got me. I think you got me, Big Jim. I think you got me. I tried. I had to think of stuff to keep up with you.
No, I was timing, man. You got me by at least 20 minutes.
That Ben actually said, guys, brothers.
Happy anniversary, Norris Williams.
Yeah.
Table
Yeah,
talk.
thanks, Norris. We wasn't expecting
19 years in the game, boy.
You
There you
baking
go.
and everything. You over there
Head
baking
long,
cakes and stuff.
Wednesday.
That's right.
Gonna be out.
Baking pound cakes over here, man.
1-9, brother. 1-9.
On the
06.
count, please hold out. All right.